Let's break it out. Let's talk about competent. What do we mean when we use the word competent? In the Filipino culture, when we use the word competent or competency, what are we talking about? The person is able, education,
You're qualified.
qualifications. Now, expertise, skills, good training, knowledge. You know what? Let me break it out a little bit, because I know a lot of people who have a lot of knowledge, but they're very incompetent. You know one person that comes to my mind? Donald Trump. There couldn't be anyone so stupid. You know, I got in trouble in Africa at the beginning of this year because they asked me, what's your opinion of President Donald Trump? I said, my dog in my house could be a better president. And it turns out that there is no worse insult to a human being than calling them a dog in Africa. So they were abhorred that the director of chaplaincy of the General Conference called the President of the United States a dog. Well, he's a dog. And I'm not going to hide the disdain I have for that man. Listen to this. I was in my flight when I woke up. The last 3 hours before we landed, we had internet. And so I started getting messages. We have a World Congress of Chaplains, and they have been denying the visa for many of the chaplains who want to come to the World Congress, denying left and right. But and he keeps saying that he doesn't want any criminals coming to the country. Hold on. This is coming from the guy who has 37 convictions, 6 bankruptcies, 256 accusations for sexual misconduct, and 1,637 civil suits. But he doesn't want any, and he's denying Adventist people, Christian people of God. But the worst, and what got me more angry, was that one of the chaplains in Africa, in Ghana, he had a visa. He had a visa, and then he got a letter from the embassy communicating to him that his visa has been revoked. So they're now also revoking visas. So you pray that you don't get an email or a letter saying that. Now, having said that, he may have fooled a lot of people, but he's not a competent person. A competent person may not have all the degrees or all the knowledge, but they know how to do things, and they know how to do it right at once. Like my grandma used to say. My grandma used to say, if you know how to do things and do it right at the first time, you're a good person. People are going to like you, and they're going to keep you around. So, when we talk about competent chaplains, we're talking about chaplains who know how to do the ministry, and they do it right from the very beginning. Now, I'm not saying here that they cannot make mistakes, because we all make mistakes. On this side of eternity, that's kind of like a given. We all will make mistakes. Are we in agreement on that?
Yeah.
But what we're trying to do is we're trying to tell the church, the people that we choose to be in the ministry of chaplaincy, which by definition is a pastor who works outside of the boundaries of the church. The people we send out are our best. Let me ask you a question, for example. A question I asked in another division of the world. In one of the divisions in Africa, I asked, okay, so the majority of the chaplains that we have are in which ministry? In healthcare? Are they in schools? Are they in the police? Or are they in military? Where's the majority of our chaplains?
Healthcare.
Healthcare.
Hospitals, perfect. You guys are very good. The majority of chaplains everywhere else in the world is in school. They are in schools. And they're in our schools. So in a division of the world that shall remain, in a union of the world that shall remain nameless, I said to them, listen, so let me ask you a question. If you had a 16-year-old son or daughter that had a spiritual problem, would you trust the chaplain that you have in their schools to be the one who takes care of their needs? And the union president stood up like somebody poked him with something. And immediately said, Pastor, somebody spoke to you about me? I said, no, I met you this morning when I came. He said, Pastor, my 16-year-old daughter is having problems, and the one that is causing the problems is the school chaplain. And my immediate response was, and then what's he doing there? What's he doing? No wonder, Sister White. Did you know that she spoke about the pastors that we send to our schools? Evangelism, page 272. She says, our best and brightest are the ones we should send to our schools to teach the Bible. But there is a lady, there's a sister in Colombia who is convinced, to this day, she's still convinced that the union president, the conference president, pastor, the director of chaplaincy ministries for the IAD, and the director of chaplaincy ministries for the general conference are hiding her husband's indiscretions, because she